Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And today I wanted to do something different. I have read so many meditations in 2018, and since we're getting ready to go into 2019, I thought, well, let's talk about preparation for 2019. Let's talk about the new year and all of that. And in the past, I was somebody that did not like change. I really struggled with change. I was resistant to change, whether it was moving somewhere, whether it was just anything. I didn't like change whatsoever, and I was always resistant to it, right? Through time, I have learned to be more accepting of change, and I have learned that change, whether it is physical change or emotional change or whatever you're going through, that you're kind of like molding into something new, or it's serving a purpose in your life. So today, I, engage in change, and I allow change in my life. I don't resist it. I don't push it away. It still is uncomfortable for me at times, especially when it's something I've done over and over and over, and just as an example, this is such a corny example, but for years, my husband and I go to Miami every year for Ultra Music Festival, and we would always road trip it down there. We would drive, and it's like a 21-hour drive, maybe 22. And so we would leave here at like, 6 or 7 in the evening, and then we would get down there the next day. And typically, I would drive it straight through, and he would sleep. I would drive it to Florida, and he would sleep in the evenings, and I would listen to audiobooks and Coast to Coast AM and things like that. And I love the road trip. Like, I love to road trip at night, especially at night. And then we would get into Florida, and he would drive that last 8, 10 hours or whatever it is. You always think when you get into Florida, you're there, and then it's like you have so much longer to go. But it was like 3 years ago, we were there, and Alex said, I'm never doing this again. He does not like to take long road trips. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, that's not true, because we had talked about maybe going West Coast, like driving out to like LA, and going through, Las Vegas and like all the old things and stuff like that. And I would love to see all of that. I've never taken a road trip out west. And he was totally down for that. But anyway, he said, I'm never doing this again. He goes, this is ridiculous. He said, we're losing 2 days. By the time that we get here, we're so exhausted. He goes, that all we want to do is sleep. And he said, the road trip is so long. It's not like it's like 5 hours. It's not 10 hours. It's 21 hours, And he goes, this is just ridiculous. And he was like, and on the way home, he was like, we're not just there. He was like, we could have had a whole extra day in Florida, but we leave at like 10 or 11 in the morning, and then we get back at 5 a.m. or something. It's ridiculous. So anyway, he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I said, we're not going to road trip anymore? Because I'm like such a creature of habit. And he goes, well, I'm going to fly. He goes, if you want to drive it, you can drive it, but I'm going to fly. And I was like, okay. So the next year we flew, and we left Indianapolis at like 6:30 a.m. And we got to Miami literally at like 8:30, and we're at our favorite restaurant, Doji's, in Miami, this Venezuelan restaurant. We were there by like 9:45. And then we had the whole day on the beach. And I was like, I'm never doing this. I'm never driving down here again. It's just totally not worth it. We lose a whole day. We had so much fun. The flight was fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, it's like sometimes you have to like go through some changes to learn new things. And for me, I'm somebody that I have to just take the resistance away. So, going into New Year's, going into, having a new age, like I'm going to be 47 in 2019. I can't even believe that I'm going to be 47 years old. That is so crazy. But, like coming up on a new age or a new year, it's change, It's just, I always it's so weird because I can see myself in elementary school, and I would have been 10. I can remember myself, I have this image of me writing on a paper, 1982. And it's, what, 2019? I mean, that is so surreal to me, that we're coming into like a new year yet again. In the past, I would look back on the past year with a lot of sadness, a lot of like, this year would be easy for me to look back and say, well, I lost my uncle this year, or this happened, or that happened. And I don't choose to do that anymore. I choose to look back on the last year and see what things that I have been presented with to have learning experiences over. Where are there opportunities for growth? My sponsor is somebody that is so fantastic for helping me with this, because whenever I'm going through something, she always poses to me, what's the growth? What's the learning experience here? Like, what opportunities for learning have you been offered? Whatever it is, And in 2018, I've had a lot of, opportunities for growth and learning, and I feel blessed. At the time, it didn't feel that way, but, in retrospect, I look back over it, and I'm like, a lot of valuable lessons were learned. A lot of growth occurred in me. This was a year of me really taking a look at myself and who I had been in my past, who I want to be in my future, and who I am in my present, and what changes I need to make to be that person. And, for me, inventory and evaluation is very, very important on a daily basis. And, you know, one of the things I think that we have to do to ever like accomplish our goals or our dreams is to first set goals and dreams. And what I mean by that is actually physically sit down and write them out. I'm not big on resolutions. I've talked about this for a long time on my vlog. I grew up doing resolutions with my mom, and I know everybody, you know, did New Year's resolutions, and I'm going to lose 10 pounds, and I'm going to do all this kind of stuff, right? I think what changed in me over time as I became an adult was that when I would do resolutions, like if it was January 3rd and I hadn't quit this or started that or done this, I was like, it's never going to happen, forget it. And the resolution was lost very quickly, if that makes sense. There was no effort or action put into that. But with goals, which I very, very much believe in, and every year I try to keep it to 10 goals. I don't try to go over that. I try to keep it right to 10 goals. And they're from all different kinds of things, whether it be, you know, my weight loss journey, to my relationships in my life, to, you know, whatever, something fun that I want to do, a trip I want to take. I try to set 10 goals, and I make measurable goals. And what I mean by that is, if I make a goal of, I just want to lose a bunch of weight, that's not a measurable goal, okay? But if I say, I want to get to such and such weight by the end of 2019, and I also want to be in the best health of my life, and what that means is that I'm not having to put all of my food in the MyFitnessPal every day, but like I'm consciously eating healthy fruits and vegetables, things like that on a daily basis, and which I'm not there yet, but I'm moving in that direction. And you know, that I'm like, let's say I want to be this certain way, I want to be eating this certain way, I want to be in this size of clothes, I want to be working out because I choose to, not because I feel like I have to, 3 to 4 times a week or every day. You know, that's a measurable goal. At the end of the year, I can look at that and I can say, and I keep my goals every year, I can look at that and I can say, well, did I accomplish that, you know? And my husband is somebody that, this is something that his family does as a tradition. Every year on New Year's Eve, they write down all of the things they want to happen, all their desires, all of their goals for for the next year. And my husband always keeps his, and it's always written on a napkin. I don't know why. And then he looks back at it the following year, and you know, on New Year's Eve, because he's always like on New Year's Eve, he's like, "Where'd my list go? Where'd my list go?" And I'm like, "You keep it here every year, you know." So anyway, and I think that kind of changed my perspective a little bit. Also, and I know this is going to sound funny, but when I read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, you know, it like really changed the way I look at things. You know, that I believe in the law of attraction, but I don't believe that things just happen to you because you want them to. I believe that you have to manifest destiny, and I believe that you have to put a lot of action to what you want your dreams to be. I really do believe, and truly, in The Secret and in the law of attraction, but I believe that you have to believe it, and then you have to put action to it. I don't believe that anything happens in life without action, right? So for me, I have to sit down and very consciously, really, I don't just write out, you know, 50 things. I think about specifically the year coming forward, what are 10 things that I really want to, you know, work on? And it was interesting because I was looking at my list. You have to be very, very careful, okay, of the things that you write down. And as a spiritual person, I believe that sometimes my higher power brings things to me in ways that I maybe wouldn't want them, you know? And I've joked about it on here and on my vlog before that, I've said this for years, that in the movie The Craft, you know, they're asking her about her, like this is about witches, it's completely different, but they're asking her about her powers, and she says, well, I'll like wish for a rainstorm and then like a pipe will burst. That's kind of how my higher power works in my life, you know, and I remember like last year and I looked at my list, it was like number 3rd on my list, you know, it was like, help me to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be. Well, I was posed a lot of lessons in 2018 for me to work on myself, and I have to be aware of that, okay, and I can't be blind to the fact that, you know, I'm really being shown the things that I need to work on in my life, you know. And that can be on any different level. That can be on my weight, or that can be on relationships with friends, or that can be just, you know, how I am in life and what things I put my passion and my creativity into. So going into 2019, I'm going to be making a very pointed effort of coming up with 10 things that I really, really want to achieve in 2019. And I want to throw some different things on there. There's always very similar ones, like finish this book, or do that, or do that. And every year it's interesting because I always accomplish about, I would say, 7 to 10 of them, or 7 out of 10 of them, but then there's always 3 that I don't. And, you know, in all honesty, this dream body of mine, of having the best body that I've ever had in my life, has been on there for quite some time. And that's a goal that I've actually put a lot of action into the tail end of 2018. And I know that I'm going to keep on going through 2019. So I'm excited about that. But I think it's important to ask yourself, what are your dreams? What are your goals? We're only here once. This is not a dress rehearsal. What do you want your life to look like? If you want your life to look a certain way, what are the goals that you need to achieve to get there? Okay, it's not just about the goals, it's about the way that you envision your life to be. It's about the way that you envision your life to look, and what is it going to take for me to get from here to there. Those are the actions that you need to put in your life. Those are the goals that you need to achieve to make your life look this way. And for me, I have to write that down. I have to be able to see it, you know? I have mine both in my phone on a note, but I also have it written down as well. And I think it's something that really like helps me because I look at it on a regular basis. I'm like, am I doing this? Am I doing that? You know what I mean? Like it's a reminder for me and it's super helpful. And we all need that. We all need inner coaches and we all need reminders and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's why apps like for weight loss journey, like MyFitnessPal and other things like that. And a lot of you have helped me by giving me apps like that throughout the year. You know, I think those things are so helpful. So in the next couple of days, sit down and really think to yourself, what are the things that I want to achieve in 2019 and, you know, further? And what do I want my life to look like going forward? Like, what does my dream life look like? And if I were to have it, what would I need to do to get there? And then don't be so tough on yourself if you don't get there. So if you guys care to share some of your goals for 2019, list them below. Let me know what you think about goals versus resolutions. I think it's an interesting conversation. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.